Oh, hello, Mr. Lee here. All right, so continuing our factoring, this is going to be factor quadratics by grouping, a little bit more complex. Essentially, your leading coefficient here, your a value, is not 1. It's bigger than 1 or smaller, just not 1. And at the same time, you can't factor out any greatest common factor, right? Or at least the whole number that's in front of here is not factored out completely, okay? So here's what happens. If you're kind of one method is you just guess and check, right? We know it's going to split up into the product of two binomials. Okay. The problem with this is you might spend a lot of time guessing and checking, which is not wrong. Okay, but you kind of have to choose which you prefer. If you look at this first term, the negative 8x squared, the first two terms in each binomial could be a variation of a number of factors. You could have negative 8x times x. You could have negative 4x times 2x. You could have a negative 2x times a 4x, negative x times 8x, right? So there's a bunch of combos. Um, so, and at the same point, when you take the two numbers at the end, right? This what happens to only have two combos. You can have 1 and 2 here, or you can have 2 and 1. Okay, so basically there's a lot of guessing and checking that you could do. Okay, so this video is going to show a more bomb-proof method to get straight to the answer. Okay, but obviously it's going to take a little bit of understanding, a little bit of work. Okay, so there is an a value of negative 8 here, and there's a c value of 2. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is actually multiply these two, and that's going to be equal to negative 16. Okay, so now I'm going to go to this x method. Instead of just taking the c value of 2 like we normally do, we're going to take the ac value of it, which is negative 16. Okay, so I'll write that up here. We need to find two numbers that multiply to get negative 16 and that add up to get negative 15 still. So the adding up is still going to be this middle term, negative 15. Okay, but we have to find two numbers that multiply to negative 16 instead of just a positive 2. Okay, so I'm going to do this pretty quickly, but the winning combo is going to be negative 16 and 1. Okay, negative 16 times 1 is negative 16. Negative 16 plus 1 is your negative 15. Okay, so the reason, going back to the name of this, the reason it's called factoring by grouping is because essentially you're going to split this negative 15x into a negative 16x plus 1x. Okay, so watch what I do here. I'm going to have your negative 8x squared. Instead of writing negative 15x, I'm going to rewrite it as minus 16x plus x. All right, you guys see that? And then the plus 2 still stays the same. So what happens here now is I can factor two groups, one at a time. So if I factor this first group, a negative 8 is going to come out. Actually, negative 8x comes out, okay? And then we're left with x minus x plus 2. All right, you guys can pause and rewind the video if you need. I'm just going to show you kind of the right answers with these factoring, okay? So check all the distribution, but that should work out. And then your x plus 2 over here just actually stays as an x plus 2, right? There's nothing that factors out here. But at the same time, I'm going to rewrite it this way, okay? So look, this is very important. I'm going to write this as a 1 times x plus 2. And there's definitely going to be a reason why, okay? So it's essentially 1 times x plus 2. The reason we do that is we essentially have now two of the same factors, okay? So imagine this said something simpler. Imagine this said negative 8x times a plus 1a, right? We know that we can just add the coefficients together. It's basically like combining like terms, right? Negative 8x of these plus 1 of these means now I have negative 8x plus 1 of these, right? And this is going to be, these is going to be the x plus 2. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit to digest here. But like I said, please pause and rewatch the video if you need to. Your final answer is actually going to be negative 8x plus 1 times x plus 2. Okay?